This is Between Hook Sets. I'm Jason Walter from In Through the Outdoors with my partner in slime, Kurt Underhill from the Fishing Crew.
Pretty weak hook set tonight, bud.
Yeah, well, my microphone's a little closer than normal.
Are you crappie fishing or what?
No, I just didn't want to knock anything off the wall. You see my money badgers hanging up there. I figured if I did something big, I'd come back and I'd get a finger hooked and look at there, checking in already.
We could do a live tutorial on how to remove a hook from your hand. Let's try that next week. You set the hook, get a hook in your hand, and I will do a step-by-step remove it with the line.
Yeah, no, thank you. I know you're pretty good at that. The last time that I got a badger stuck in the palm of my hand, I took a hypodermic needle and slid it down over the top of the barb and popped it out. But it took about 40 minutes.
40 seconds we'd have it out, but man,
well, what do you do?
We're gonna talk about some big hook sets tonight, and we got Caed Melone on getting ready for the Montana Governor's Cup next week. South Dakota Governor's Cup, Lieutenant Governor's Cup. Get your kids signed up if you haven't yet. We still have quite a few. I think we're well over 100 on our 150, so there's enough spots to get them kids in, but. Yeah, we'll be doing some videos and stuff over the next couple of days of loading bags and all the prizes. So everything's starting to come together. I just got a text right before we started the show of stop by. I got a whole bunch of stuff waiting for them kids. So I can't wait.
Tons of stuff. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So yeah,
awesome.
Before we do that, we're going to go to Caed and talk about the Montana Governor's Cup. How you doing tonight, bud?
Doing good. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks for joining.
Finally get you here. I know we've talked about it for quite a while. Appreciate you reaching out. Probably a year or maybe a couple of years ago. We always look for the right time to have someone on, and this is the right time to have you on here right before the Montana Governor's Cup. So, so tell us where you're at right now, what you're doing, and all that stuff.
Well, we're at Fort Peck right now. Here, I'm actually sitting above the dam currently, overlooking this beautiful lake. It's been an interesting bite so far. A lot of deep fish, a lot of shallow fish. Seems like you can go anywhere and pretty much find pods of fish no matter where you go. I mean, we've scoured probably the last couple days 50 miles of shoreline on the trolling motors, and
wow.
There's a lot of fish out there. But just getting those big ones to bite's been kind of a challenge so far. We've gotten a lot of those 24, 25-inch fish, but finding those 30s,
not those massive marble eyes.
Yep.
So what you're saying is you don't expect the Gov Cup to come back with 32 and a half, 32 and a quarter, 32 and 3/4, 33 and the Wayne Wilcox, Zeke Gordon fish, right?
I think it'll be a good bag. I think the top 10 will be within 80 and 90 pounds. Or more. If it stays the way it's been, with fish going deep and whatnot, we might see 80 pounds. But you never know. There's always guys on them out here. Anybody could roll in with 530s a day and just crush them.
Well, that's the crazy thing about any given tournament at all. It doesn't matter what the weather's like, doesn't matter what anything's are, the conditions, how practice was, who won it in practice, who didn't. Someone always comes in with big fish, or at least one big fish to win it.
Yeah, there's always someone on them, no matter where you go. You could have the worst bite ever, and there's always that one guy who's got it figured out.
Yep. No matter what.
You always hope you're the one guy, but
so you made a comment that you're scouring 50 miles of shoreline. Are you Gov Cup normally here in South Dakota? I don't know. Everybody's been telling me the lake's 2 to 3 weeks behind, but magically in mid next week the lake will do the Gov Cup flip. Everybody will be on them, and then all of a sudden it'll be like we can't find our fish, or we had to go deep, or whatever. But when you're saying scouring shorelines, how deep are you fishing right now, and what do you think it's going to set up? You were telling us before the show a little bit of a cold front coming in, mid 70s for the tournament, it looks like.
Yeah.
What are you chasing 40, 50-foot deep walleyes like we do, or are you guys a lot shallower than that?
I'm not chasing those. There's a lot of guys chasing those deep ones out there. I'm working 10 to 20 feet right now. Seems to be where I've had the best luck. And we there's a lot of vacant shoreline with no fish on it. And then you'll hit spots where there's lots of fish. From what I found today is there's a weird bug hatch going on the lake. It's not like a mayfly hatch or anything like that. There's these weird, like,
Are they
I don't
little?
know how to explain. They're like these little, like, black bugs with a weird little fuzzy tail on the end.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe an inch or so long. And all the fish we pulled out today were puking up bugs. Which, at least in years past here, I've never really seen it this time of year. But yet again, everything in this state seems to be 2 to 3 weeks behind, like you said. Even back home where I'm at, all the fishing's just been very late. We had fish still spawning late May, early June. So
yeah, that's crazy. That happens more. I think that happens more than we think, more than we know.
It does. It was weird. It was like May 28th, I think, and we were pulling males that were still milking. And it really threw me for a loop because I'd never seen it that late in the year. But just seeing it kind of, opened my eyes to maybe things are running a little late this year.
You guys, obviously a lot higher elevation out there in Montana, but did you have the weird spring with us, like 90 degrees for a week and then almost snow the next week? And,
yes. We were in t-shirts one day, and then the next day it was snowing, and it messed up everything that I had found a while back. But
we've had weird weather.
3 weekends ago, I was in Montana out in Fort Benton, and it was 100 plus degrees here, and it was 33 degrees there.
Oh yeah.
He went to his hometown in Montana. You see it here.
yeah. But that's your hometown. You've lived in
no. Okay, here's the deal. Cade's from Bozeman. I was in Columbus. You from Goobersville.
That's
so
funny.
You know what's funny? Here's the crazy thing. I was on my phone about 6 o'clock or so, just flipping through, doing some stuff, and a deal popped up on a reel, and it was from like Goobsville, Arkansas. I'm like, well, what the hell are the chances of that? I make up this goober thing just to poke fun at Kurt,
right.
and then there's a Goobsville, and I'm just absolutely, just absolutely ridiculous, crazy. Here's something else that made me laugh today too when I looked at it. I'm like Caed. Here's the thing, because your name's Caed, right? So I'm trying to figure out, well, how the hell is he pronouncing it? Could care less how you say it, and that was it. I lost it. I'm like, that's funny.
It's funny because there's a lot of people who cannot pronounce my name to save their lives, because that's just my abbreviated name for my full name, which is Caedman.
Oh,
so people see that and they don't know how to pronounce it. Like, they just go into like a weird mind daze at like doctor's offices, and they'll just look around the room, and I'll be like, it's me that you're trying to call. I know. And they'll be like, oh, I didn't know how to say it. So that's the whole reason behind that.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I know the first time when I typed your name out, just typing Malone, I'm like Malone, and like, wait a minute, that doesn't look right.
Everything in my name's just spelled wrong for some reason.
That's okay though. I love it. My son's name is Caed, Kade, so it's easy to remember your name. But I'm like, well, that's actually a pretty cool way to spell it. I think it's kind of neat. So is it an old family name then, or is it something your mom and dad pulled out of?
It's something my mom and dad named. It was a band from the 90s or early 2000s, I believe. I think it was like an Irish folk band called Caedman's Call. That's what they named me after. For years, I was just like, where'd you get that name? Spelling.
That's actually pretty cool.
And here's the deal. You're like me. My real name is Curtis. I go by Kurt. You cannot find a keychain at Disney World. I tell everybody, if you name your kids something, let them kids get a keychain at Disney World. There's nothing more disappointing than going everywhere and never. I had to get the bike license plate where you had to put your own stickers on.
Yep.
And actually, Curtis was a pretty popular name there for a while.
I never go by Curtis, so and it's all Kurt with a K, and I'm like, that's not me, So, but yeah. Anyway, so you're in big fish country, man. Everybody talks about Montana. In your opinion, why is Fort Peck building the way it is right now?
It's just the bait fish in here. There's Cisco's everywhere. You can roll up to any point and just see pods of bait fish. And at least from my understanding of it, like compared to the lakes back home that I fish, we don't have a lot of bait where I live. It's pretty lacking down like Helena, Great Falls area. So when you come out here and you see pods of fish and they're chasing bait balls and whatnot, kind of opens your eyes to like these fish don't have to eat, but they choose to eat and they choose to get fat. And it's just amazing how healthy of a fishery it is.
Well, I think we're finding out, especially I guess from video and from live sonar, that walleye eat when they're full, when their mouth is full. Look at that video that Tom Boley had. He caught that, what was 11-pounder on the Wahi out of a casket, and it had Kurt. What was it? Was it a Cisco, a walleye, or something? It was like 12, 11, 12, 13, whatever. It was a big Cisco hanging out of its mouth, and it still whacked whatever he was using. I don't remember what he was using, and it doesn't matter. It just, either pissed off with a full mouth or eating with a full mouth.
Yeah, they're not shy. You can throw anything at them, and if they're willing to eat, they'll eat. And I mean, there's some of them that will not eat no matter what you throw at it. You could probably throw a live Cisco down there, and they would not touch that thing. They're so fat and full. But if you can find those ones that are for some reason just willing to eat a jig and wrap or a shiver minnow or a paddle tail of some sorts, they'll have that thing down their throat when you set the hook on it.
So Montana Governor's Cup, you guys kind of do it a little different than we're used to out here, and even different than what we call like the AIM style catch, photo, release. I want to go into how the tournament is set up out there for people that don't really understand, because I know my buddy in Wyoming does stuff, and the way they do it is different than the way we do it. Kind of explain to the people what that is when people see 140 pounds of walleyes come out of Montana. It's a link to weight conversion, but you guys do it a little different out there.
Yeah, so at least for the Gov Cup, it's different. All the other tournaments in our circuit, we have a board that we're given each day, and that board's obviously got, it's just a designated board. It's got like a little serial number on it that's given to you that day. So for those ones, you'll go out, you'll catch a fish, let's say it's a 30-incher. You'll lay it on your board, stretch it out, take your picture, you'll take a video of you releasing the fish back into the water, and then you'll record it on a scorecard with the length of the fish and then the weight conversion that we're given. The Gov Cup, though, we do it a little different, at least for this year. I heard there's rumors of us changing it in maybe years to come, but we'll see on that. But for now, we have weigh boats out here, and we don't weigh the fish, but it's a length to weight conversion as well. So the weigh boats have a ruler in their boat. We'll bring the fish in at any point in the day. So you can weigh as many fish as you want, but you can only have your 5 in the live well when you come into a weigh boat. So you can come weigh 5 in, and then you can go fish and weigh another 5 in. You can keep doing that all day, upgrading your fish if you really want to. But yeah, the length to weight conversion is pretty nice. It has its benefits, it has its downsides to it. Weighing fish sometimes will benefit you a little bit more. Sometimes you lose out on a few pounds from a fish that's real skinny or fat if it's short. So that's kind of the way we do it out here. Just bring them to your weigh boats and have them weigh them for you.
Do you like it? Do you like that kind of thing?
I kind of like the doing it by yourself kind of thing. You save on a lot of fuel that way. You're not running across the lake looking for a weigh boat or anything like that. Because sometimes you'll get in spots where there's no weigh boats within probably 6 or 7 miles.
Oh, so you're wasting some time going to get weighed then.
Depending on where you're at, they try and keep them pretty close together. But sometimes they spread out a little bit and it gets hard to find. So if it's 10 o'clock and you got 5 fish and one of them's kind of starting to get a little funny on you and you run them in, you might have 4 boats weighing in at that weigh boat. And you might kill 30, 40 minutes trying to get your fish weighed in.
Wow.
So it has the benefit of being able to weigh in whenever and not risk, fish going belly up on you. So that's the bright side to it. But the bright side to doing the catch and release style, the AIM style as they call it, is you can just take a picture of that fish, weigh it, and then it's back in the water, and there's no live well process. There's none of that.
Well, and not running in, you're not losing. If you're on the spot, you're not necessarily worried about a boat being on your spot when you pull back up.
Right. And that's an issue sometimes too. If people see you catch, one or two real nice ones and you leave to go weigh it in, they'll be on that spot by the time you get back.
Of course. Yeah, I don't know. At one point I was kind of thinking that maybe that system wasn't so bad, but I might be more in Kurt's corner. Right. Kurt, I never left your corner. I was just trying to keep an open mind, thinking about this whole thing because it seems to be the wave of the future, right? And I'm like, I might not be so against it anymore, but you might have changed my mind. I might not really dig that as much as I thought I might.
Right. My big thing is, you said a little bit ago, is I don't care what, but no two fish weigh the same.
Yeah, right.
So if you and three other guys all bring in 5 30-inchers and put them on your scorecard, what do you do then?
For
sure. Because I've weighed, 30-inch walleyes that went 8 pounds, and I've weighed 30-inch walleyes that went 14 pounds.
Yeah.
They don't weigh the same. Yeah, you can find some slots all weighing 1.9, 1.8, whatever. But when you're talking those big fish, let's go to Chasen's example from this fall.
Those 4.
His 27-incher that weighed what?
That was 10 pounds. The 28-incher weighed 13.01. So I had 4 10-pound fish, one that was 9, 14, the other 2 were 10, and one was 13. And they were all under 28. So they were 20, I think 26 and a half, if I remember right, to 28. So, if Kurt and I were fishing, we would have got screwed.
Right.
By quite a few pounds.
Yeah, for sure. And that's a downside to it for sure. Like I said, there's positives to it, negatives to it, but can't really complain a whole lot about it.
And no matter what, there's a mortality rate, and there needs to be a mortality rate to keep a fishery healthy. We learned that from my biologists. We need to have some mortality in our lakes. Just because you're releasing those fish doesn't mean they're all necessarily making it. Now, we've learned that they don't float to the top every time. So, they go to the bottom and they die. I don't know, if your guys are staying under 25 foot of water, deep water hooking isn't really a problem.
Right. Yeah.
But you're fighting live well temps. You're fighting, you bring that whole game into, if you got to keep these fish alive for weigh-ins, you're fighting live well temps. You're fighting, fresh water in your live well at all times. I remember RCL days. My dad had a bilge pump rigged up on a 25-foot garden hose. He'd drop over the side of the boat to get cold water in his live well.
Oh yeah.
So just to keep his fish alive, and healthy. So, there's all these factors that play into both of them. I still like fish coming across the stage. If you go to the Fish Donkey or AIM, like I was talking to Jason yesterday, there is no excitement. Who won before walked across the stage.
Right. Yeah, I like the excitement portion of it too.
The
mystery of it. Yeah.
We watch a lot of Bassmaster stuff, and they have fish, they have Bass Track, but a lot of those guys fudge their Bass Track, but you're still pretty accurate on who's on top on Bass Track. So it kind of takes that excitement of the weigh-in process out of the game. And honestly, even if you show fish or don't show fish, that's where the majority of the public sees the people is the weigh-ins.
Right.
See, you go to a catch, measure, release style, and you don't get that aspect because you're going to walk across the stage and say you're in 300th place. We're in 200th place. Like, what do you you already know where you're at.
Right. Yeah. You're gonna leave before the weigh-ins even start. Cause if I'm not in the top, then why stay kind of thing.
But
it takes it all out of it. That is a bummer part of it. I just don't like it.
I know.
The one thing I want to come out there for in one of these years, if I can ever make it happen, but it's so close to our Governor's Cup, is I want to come out and watch that dang Calcutta.
Oh yeah,
I've heard
it's fun to
hundreds
watch.
of thousands of dollars in the Calcutta.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a full-on auction war sometimes with those.
Yeah.
It's fun to watch.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but they Calcutta all the teams off in a block on Thursday night.
Yep.
And then on Friday night, they Calcutta off all the teams again, right? There's like 4 Calcuttas in one, or somehow it works.
I believe so. I'm
believe,
not 100% sure because I've never gotten into it too much.
I believe they Calcutta all the teams in a block. Then they Calcutta the top 25. And then they Calcutta where you can build the team. It's something like that. It's like I was talking to a guy. He goes, "Yeah, I won $102,000 in the Calcutta out there one year."
Yeah,
what it cost them though.
Yeah,
which I guess
pretty penny.
So you don't buy yourself in the Calcutta. You're just going to win the tournament.
Pretty much. That's my main goal when I go out for all these tournaments is try and win it.
You got to be an insurance salesman to play in that Calcutta game because you're spending $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000. I'm guessing, right?
It's a big risk.
Yeah. If you're going to get to that kind of money, there's big bucks in it. Kurt, what's the Calcutta and the Gov Cup? That's big bucks too, isn't it?
It's $57,000 last year, auctioning off blocks of 5 out of 200 teams, and I know the guy who won it won $26,000, and he spent $14,000 to do it.
Oh yeah, okay. So you lose and it costs you $14,000 to play.
Yeah.
Nope. Not happening. Not in my world. Not in my world at all. Caed,
trying to fish.
Talk about this picture here. You won first place, I believe, in this tournament, didn't you?
So that's my brother and my grandpa, and they were fishing.
Okay.
Yep, okay. They were fishing that tournament together. I had to work that weekend, so I was unable to attend that one.
Okay. Yeah, I was looking at some pictures trying to decide if they're, and now that I look at it on the bigger screen rather than my phone, I'm like, yeah, that isn't truly you. But then again, when you both have sunglasses on,
right,
you can pass for each other.
Sometimes.
What's his name?
Riley. Riley's my brother.
Okay.
Yep. And so for that one, at least so most of our tournaments here, we have like multiple categories in them. So we have like the main category, which is all the teams competing, obviously. And then we have like branches, which are like adult child teams. And then we have mixed couple teams that also compete for like separate prizes against the whole. So the mixed couple teams is just as far as I understand, any one guy and girl on a team. It could be a father-daughter, husband-wife team. So they're all competing against each other for like separate prizes. And then you have the adult child, which is one person over 18 and one person under 18. And they're competing for extra prizes as well. So that first place they had got was in that adult child portion of it.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. Have you won a tournament or 2 or 3 before?
Never won a tournament. Back in 2020, I got second at one of our events and lost that one by about a pound. So,
yeah, that's heartbreaking.
That was the closest I've gotten in a while. So, had a few top tens but haven't got that win yet.
What is your prediction? What going into one more day of practice, going out to fish the Gov Cup? What is what's your goal right now? That obviously, like, we have slots, we have to play the game, but what are you going to make your 5? What do you want your 5 fish a day to be right now?
It's kind of a tough call, but if I can get 5 over 25, I'll be happy. And that's my personal goal. I mean, if I can find 5 over 30, I'm going to be ecstatic. I'll be thrilled. But if I can find kind of what we found, today and the last couple of days, and find some of those bigger ones and end up with 35 to 40 pounds a day, I'll feel pretty good about that.
Oh yeah, I would agree on that. 35 to 40. When you hear about Fort Peck, you just think you'd almost have to try to not get 25 pounds, right? But the reality of Fort Peck is it's not always giving up 140 pounds, 43 pounds for a tournament.
No. There's a lot of zeros that get put on the board. When you look at the score sheet at the end, there's a lot of 0s to 10 pounds, and I've been in that quite a few times before in the past, but each year's a little bit better. It's a little bit of a stepping stone out here, but you know.
Well, with that, I mean, if you can weigh every fish you catch,
yeah, which is nice.
Do you have a minimum length that you can weigh in?
It's got to be over 14.
So over 14. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of even swinging for it. You don't have to worry about little fish in your live well. Now,
right.
Let me ask this: when you box a fish, you're going to keep it. Let's just say it's a 20, and then you go 225s, a 27, and a 28. Can you throw your little fish out before you go check in?
Yeah, if you can.
So
as long as you don't have more than 5 in the live well at any point in time, you're good. So,
okay.
But if my first 5 fish were all 20 inchers, I'd go weigh them. When I'm running to a new spot or something like that, stop and weigh them in. They let them go, and then I'd pretty much just be starting over again, which is nice. So it's like a fresh card almost.
Yeah, and there's no how many you can bring in a day.
No. You just have at the end of the day, you just have to circle on your little score sheet. You got your 5 biggest off there, and then all the other ones get crossed out. So you just pick your 5 biggest off your card, and that's what they take for the weigh-ins.
I can't wrap my head around that. Yeah, the fact that you could catch 20 really nice fish, right?
Yeah.
And pick your best 5. I'm just kind of used to you get the 5 you get, and that's what you get, kind of thing.
Right.
See, and there's an aspect of tournament fishing in my mind that's lost on that. Like our Governor's Cup, we give you 8 tags, you weigh 6. You have 2 to play with. Even if we didn't have a slot here, you still have to make the right decisions to tag a fish out.
Yeah, for sure.
Where that you're just going catching and you weigh fish all day long.
Yeah.
If you're a guy that gets to go through 50 fish, you got better odds than a guy that goes through 5.
For sure.
How many times does a boat actually catch, say, 15 to 25 walleye during a tournament?
I guess it depends on where you're at. If you're weeding through a bunch of little fish out here, you could do it pretty quick. If you're bumping 20-inch fish out, you could have 15 to 20 on your card. But I feel like a lot of guys, they get their big ones and they decide, by the time they go to weigh in their 5 if they're going to keep, that 20-inch or not. So you'll see a lot of guys with just 5 on there.
Did we lose him?
Yeah, I don't. Well, we're having some audio issues here. Let me click on something once. Did we get you back there, Caed? Kind of.
Okay.
Yeah, we kind of lost your audio. We got plenty of video there, but your audio got pretty crackly and almost became non-existent.
Let me try something.
There we go.
There you go. Now it's coming back.
Oh.
I wonder if did your phone slide down and the microphone ended up on the dash or something and got kind of covered up?
No, it was kind of facing the side, so the mic was exposed. See if that works.
There we go.
Yeah, we got you back. It's a little crackly.
We lost everything you said.
Okay. Since I'm not sure what the deal is with that.
Okay, that's better. The closer you get to you, the better it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I can hear it on my end too. That popping noise.
Oh, you can hear that. Okay. Yeah, all of a sudden it kind of started there a little while ago and hasn't left, but that's part of remember when we were talking about all the digital glitchy stuff? There you go.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, you kind of missed part of what you were saying on the fact of, you go through all those fish in a day, but I mean, like I said, guys are still zeroing out there.
Yeah.
Do you think that's because guys aren't catching them, or do you think that's just because they're just waiting for big ones?
I think part of it has to do with that. I mean, I personally know people who won't weigh in fish unless they're over 20 inches. So even though you can weigh 14-inch fish, I know guys that won't even bring an 18 into a weigh boat, no matter what. So I think part of it's that. I think people would rather just take a 0 than, come in with 9 pounds on the end of the day.
Yeah, I don't want a 0. I don't want a 0 by my name.
Right. And then, yeah, I mean, if it's a close one and teams only have 9 fish at the end of the week, one 18-incher could bump you up, a pound heavier, obviously, and that could be enough to sometimes win it for you.
So with the weather changing, cold front coming in, what do you think your prediction? What's the prediction to win it? If you had to pick a weight, what do you need to win it?
I'm going to say probably 90 pounds or so. Off of 10 fish at least.
So 9 pound average, you think you're going to need. So on your conversion chart, what is that, a 30-incher?
I think a 9 pounder is a 28-incher uppercut.
Well, okay.
So yeah, you got
average.
What was that?
A 28-inch average to get to your 90 pounds. Yeah. That's still incredible to think about.
I know.
That's huge. I guess we'll find out because it's coming up this weekend, right? Is it Friday, Saturday, or Saturday, Sunday? It's Friday, Saturday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if you've got. I don't know if you've got a Montana government drone flying over your vehicle there or what.
I'm not sure what the deal is with it. I'm gonna try something and see if I can get a maybe go away here.
Somebody's tapping in to find out all your secrets.
Yeah, maybe that's it, right?
Probably try and find my waypoints that I've got saved on my phone.
Yeah, right on. There you go. Yeah, I don't know. It's so hard sometimes with all this stuff just gets super glitchy.
Yeah.
Maybe you got the air conditioning on, right? It's not getting too hot in the car.
No, it's on.
Okay.
There's no air to the microphone. I wonder, should I try and leave and come back in? You think that might help?
Go ahead and leave and come back, and we'll cover for you. That's one of those things. Yeah. That's the deal with live. Just go with it.
Going live, right? But no, we can talk a little bit about our Governor's Cup. I think the way the lake's fishing right now, if it holds true and doesn't do the Gov Cup flip, it's going to be some very, very good bags. There's a nice bite going on down on the southern end, which doesn't happen very often, in the last few years. So it could be really interesting. It'll be really interesting Saturday morning watching which way boats go.
Yeah, right.
They make that run north, or if they make that run to the south. All right, I think we got them back.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's not going to work so well.
Yeah, it was working great, and then all of a sudden we lost.
Yeah, all of a sudden it got goofy. But yeah, you're right. So going north or south, I'm expecting some to go north. I'm very curious to see if they go south. It is a whole week away, so we'll see. And it looks like he's still out. Yeah, no, it's back again. I don't know what it is, but
it's so weird. I tried to turn off some do not disturb stuff on my phone to see if that would kind of make a difference. But
we might just have to cut it a little short, and then next week when you win it, we can have you back on.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Yeah. So why don't you win it?
Hammer them, and when you win it, then we can have you back on talking about the W.
Yeah, hopefully we can find them. Hopefully we can get enough big ones and whatnot.
Well, I hope so.
I was worried about.
We'll see if that works. If not, we can kind of cut a little short, and we can always touch base again with you when you have a full service, or we can figure out what our glitch is tonight. But
yeah. Sure. When
there's good audio.
Oh, it was good for a second.
I don't know. It's weird. It's just real weird out here.
You are in Montana.
Yeah.
I know. I was like, I got perfect signal and whatnot, and it just comes and goes.
That's like
you sounded good.
I travel in western South Dakota. I hit a pothole and completely lose service. So we get it. We get it.
For sure. Yeah. Out here, you can go about 100 feet and be no signal and then be back to full service.
That's
crazy.
You think that 90 pounds, obviously is it going to be a forward facing sonar chasing the big ones? What do you think the key bait's going to be this week? Don't give away what you're using in case everybody out there watches and tunes in, but is it going to be a jig wrap or is it going to be a mooch minnow or
the mooch minnows have been doing good from what I've heard. I haven't played with one yet. I want to tomorrow throw one a little bit. With how finicky they are, I know some guys are crushing them on like the finishers and whatnot. So it could be a finisher bite or it could be a power switch bite, something like that. Just a little erratic bait, but being able to fish it a little slower might be the ticket.
Can you do some corking?
Yeah.
Or is bobber fishing during a tournament just not allowed? You know what I mean?
I've always got one rigged up in my boat, no matter what. I always keep it on the front deck in case I find a pot up shallow that I can pitch on. I've always got a bobber rod rigged up.
Got to be ready, right? Especially if you got a light finicky bite.
Are you creek chub? Is creek chubs playing a factor out there? Or?
Not necessarily. It seems like live bait doesn't do a whole lot out here this time of the year, at least. So in the spring, that's the money, but when it comes summertime, they like artificials and they like chasing.
Yeah. I know when it's a creek chub bite here because I got it. One guy, it's like a drug dealer. He sits in the bait shop with his all his bait tanks selling creek chubs to people. So it's funny. He's got a black Escalade. He backs up to the door and just takes money.
Yeah, right.
Oh yeah.
You know, what's in those tanks there, buddy?
Right. Got some undercover operations going on there.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about the Walleyes Unlimited out there, the circuit that they do. What's that like for you guys?
So we got two circuits actually that we do. We have the Montana Walleye circuit, and then we have the Fort Peck Champion Series, so the Fort Peck Series is Rock Creek on Fort Peck, which is on the dry arm. They have the Gov Cup here at the dam, and then they have Hell Creek, which is way down the west end of the lake down there. So those three make up that one. And then over on the Montana circuit, we have Crooked Creek, which is at the dam as well this year. The last couple of years, they've been at the dam. And then we go Canyon Ferry down in Helena. And then we go to Tiber, which is just north of Great Falls up there, kind of by Fort Benton area.
Yep.
And then in the past, we've had one on a little reservoir called Fresno, kind of up by Havre up on the High Line. They've been doing some dam repairs up there, so the lake's been 20 to 30 feet low, so we haven't been able to get up there to do a tournament yet. So hopefully that fills up, but there's 4 on that side as well. So 7 total for the Montana Walleyes Unlimited.
A lot of guys fish that stuff up there?
Yeah.
It's full?
Well, kind of, yeah. We used to have a lot more teams do it than we do now. Some of those tournaments we'd have 120, 150 teams for those ones, and we're looking at like 30 to 50 now.
Oh, really? Okay, so they've really
been a significant drop in the last couple of years.
Is it the same with the Gov Cup too? The Gov Cup has seen a drop in participation.
We used to fill at 200 and have a waiting list, and we still got 30 spots left.
Wow.
So yeah, that one's had a big drop too in recent years.
Yeah, that's interesting. I guess I'd love to ask you why, but is there really even a reason? It's just down.
I wish I knew. I wish I had an answer for it, but it seems like nobody's really got a true answer on it.
They got a lot of things to point fingers at, but no true answer. Yeah, and a lot of times running tournaments, it's a combination of 3-4 different things usually that add up to it. And we started our business in 2008, right when the crunch of all crunch came out. And, one thing I learned about fishermen, they'll give up a lot of things before they give up fishing a tournament. I thought high gas prices, economy's not good, all these different things, and they come fish.
Right. Yeah.
It
takes a lot to drive a tournament fisherman away from what I've seen.
Yeah,
it's the thing, right? It's a passion. It's what they do. It's what you do,
Right.
So talk about your you kind of got a yearning for North Dakota a little bit there. What's the deal with you in North Dakota?
Oh, I just want to fish some new stuff. Honestly, I've never fished a tournament outside of Montana before, so that's kind of my goal, is just to fish at least next year, fish some new areas, whether that's out on Erie or Illinois or somewhere in between. I'd like to go fish some different stuff.
Well, that's cool. I mean, just between you and me, I'll be a little closer to you. I'll be in Mobridge soon, so
Yep.
I'll get a little closer. We get you on Oahe pretty quick and simple.
Yeah, that's a definite goal of mine next year, is to get down there and fish that. And obviously,
that's good, because the goal of mine is to get up there to Fort Peck and fish up there too. So
yeah,
that works out pretty well for both of us.
So you guys are pretty much all reservoir fishing out there, and even all your circuits are pretty much all reservoirs, right?
Yeah, for the tournaments, they're all reservoirs. So we don't have any river tournaments or anything like that.
Ooh, so but those Montana rivers are gorgeous.
I know, they're fun to fish. That's where I grew up fishing, and cut my teeth was on the rivers here and whatnot. So
did you grow up fly fishing, or you've always been a walleye fisherman?
Always been a walleye fisherman. I can barely cast a fly rod to save my life.
I can't figure it out. Whatever.
I'll do it here and there, but it's a once a year kind of activity for me.
Yeah,
it
takes something special. You got to practice that or whatever. So who do you partner with when you fish these tournaments?
It honestly really depends. I don't have a designated partner I fish with.
Right there. He spelled his name wrong too. Must be a Montana thing. I'm not even going to go pronounce that one.
Nope. Everybody out here, we all got weird spelling names, but usually I fish with a variety of people. My brother and grandpa I usually fish a lot with for tournaments and whatnot. Every now and then I'll have a friend or someone who wants a partner, and I'll join them and fish it. So, but for the most part, my grandpa and my brother are the two I fish with the most.
So who are you fishing this one with?
I'm fishing this one with my brother.
Okay.
And so, I mean, seriously, do you have a chance? I mean, you in your mind, or are you confident with the way practice has gone that you could win this thing?
We'll see how tomorrow goes. I'm confident that if I fish clean enough, I can find the big ones. Today was kind of a bad day. We had some trolling motor issues about 11 o'clock when we got to our spot, and we were only able to fish for maybe 2 hours before the trolling motor died. So we had to come back to camp and work on that for a little while, but it's fixed now and ready to go. So tomorrow we'll get hopefully close to a full day and see if we can find some more. So I think after tomorrow I'll have a better understanding of how I feel for this tournament. But so far I feel pretty decent.
It is just right around the corner for you. We're kind of losing you again, so at this point, I think we'll wrap it up. But good luck to you. I hope we have to have you back on when you get the W. That'd be fantastic.
I hope.
Then you'll be able to do the podcast before every event if he gets the W.
Yeah, I was going to say it'll be a
right on
if that's the case.
Right on. Yeah, let's make that the deal. Let's make it the deal. Caed, thank you very much. Good luck to you, and thank you for talking Montana and big fish. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. Good luck to you. Thank you.
Buddy.